Are we ready, kids? Hey everybody, welcome to Three Guys in a Pie Podcast. Your host Jonathan here with my co-host Gary. And here again, Aaron as our guest.
I still don't know what a podcast is.
So, it's been a little bit again.
Just a hair.
2 weeks turned to 3.
Yeah. Busy schedules, busy work weeks, just busy.
Pain and suffering,
Always.
the usual. So, talking about hobbies today?
Don't sound so fucking excited. Yes, we're talking about hobbies. We're going to preface this by saying that Jonathan is in immense pain.
Pain is not the right word. Discomfort, well, right now, my lower back is just numb and tingly, and it's just very unsettling.
That sounds like nerve damage.
It's apparently not. I don't know. Everything checked out. If my physical therapy doesn't go well, I have to go see a specialist. So more of that to come in a future episode.
Yeah. Well, but recently we've been getting into new hobbies. So we have a couple of those to talk about. And I thought it'd be neat to talk about some of the hobbies that we used to have and kind of got away from. And talk about, hobbies that are super interesting to us, but we don't have, the startup capital to get into it or the time sink. So I'm not going to force Aaron to start. So I'll force you to start.
Reverse.
Reverse Uno card. Well,
why don't you talk about some of your past hobbies? Because I did not have hobbies as a child.
Really?
Well, you told us before video games don't count. So.
Well, yeah. I mean...
Football's not a hobby. Football.
Football.
Suffering. Oh, I didn't actually do paintball. I guess, shooting, pellet guns and,
And you can't say that you didn't have hobbies, because you made the air cannon.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. I forgot about it. It sits in your garage.
Yeah.
But yeah, you built the air cannon, which in itself is cool. And that, I like those kinds of hobbies, because I like doing things with my hands, but I'm no good at building shit. All the hobbies I like to do are ones that I'm really bad at.
Yeah, and I wanted to do more stuff like that as a kid, but it just never came together. I wanted to make a ballista at one point. We had plans. I 3D rendered, an image of what we were going to do, and, I know how I want to build it. I just don't have anywhere to keep it.
That's super neat, actually.
I mean, we could even make a smaller version. My idea was, 8 feet wide.
Like an actual ballista.
Like a fucking actual ballista.
That's really neat. So, one of the first hobbies I had was, Magic. I played Magic a lot.
I guess you could call that a hobby.
I played a lot. Well,
it's an expensive hobby.
When I started it, I played it with my dad because he had all the cards. So it was really just me playing with my dad's Magic cards against my father. I didn't win very much, and I wasn't very good at it. But the hobby that I stuck to for a very long time up until college was reading. I was an avid reader if I was also a slow reader. I would be able to go through a book in a month. And to some people, that is extremely slow.
Really? I don't see anything wrong with that. That's faster than most people. I feel like most people nowadays finish 2 or 3 books a year if they
read.
Reading.
Yeah. So my whole thing was I needed glasses. So that's what slowed me down on reading, because it became very difficult for me to actually be able to read. So I would have to read slower to make everything out, and it would give me major headaches if I read for an extended period of time. Once I got my glasses, I was able to churn through a book every 2 weeks. Which is still slow by some people's metric. I know people who can read a fucking Stephen King novel in 2 days. Those people, you are a psychopath.
When I read, I either finish the book in 2 days or I don't read. That's when I get into a bock I really like. I at college I literally stayed up till 2 or 3 in the morning, and I read 400 pages in a day.
Yeah, when I got back into reading after college, I started reading a lot quicker. That book that I lent you, The Name of the Wind, that's a pretty thick book. And that I got through in about 4 to 5 days, because I would stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning just reading. Because I would get to points where it was just too good to put down.
Oh yeah.
There were hard places to stop. And it would always run into the shitty part, because the way the chapters are set up in that book, it's one chapter is fucking 50 pages long, and the next chapter is 2 pages. And it's no, you can't do this to me. I said I would only read one more chapter, then go to bed. I'll just read this next chapter, and that one's fucking 50 pages long. So I would run into those problems. But yeah, reading was a hobby I had for a long time, and then I did trap shooting, which was my first and really only competitive hobby.
I make all my hobbies competitive.
No, see...
If I could make reading competitive, I would.
No, so it didn't start as a competitive hobby for me. It started when, for the Rod and Gun Club I was a part of, they had a picnic, and the picnic was at a trap shooting house. Not a trap house. That is something different.
God damn it, Gary.
For anyone who does not know what trap shooting is, basically you have 5 people put in positions 1 through 5, 18 feet away, or 18 yards away from a concrete box that has a machine in it that throws clay birds, which are usually orange and black. Sometimes they're yellow, sometimes they're green.
Frisbees, basically.
Yeah, they're basically like frisbees.
They're clay discs.
They're clay discs. Jonathan, when he edits this, will put an image up. You're welcome.
Yeah, bold of you to assume I will leave that in.
So then it throws these clay discs that Jonathan's going to edit in out of the trap house. And the whole point is you have a shotgun and you try to shoot them. You shoot at 5 birds at each position for a grand total of 25 birds. And your score is basically how many you hit. And when I first started, it was really fun, even if I only hit 11 out of 25 the first time I shot, which is crazy low. That is a bad record. But I really enjoyed it, and my dad took me to a couple different places to do it, and then he's like, hey, I heard at this other Rod and Gun Club, they actually have a trap shooting league. Would you be interested in doing it? And I said, yeah, sure. So we started in March, and it was a fucking cold March, dude. I was out there trap shooting in like 20-degree weather. It sucked. And I had a shotgun that was too big for me, and I was shooting rounds that were loaded hot. So by the end of my first league shoot, my first league practice, my arm looked like fucking meatloaf. It sucked. But after that, we got an actual trap shooting gun that was actually 100 years old. And I used that for like a year before we found out that it was actually an antique that was quite expensive. So I stopped using that. I started using a single shot 20 gauge, and that did me well. But then I went up to BT99, and that's a 12 gauge shotgun, single shot, break action. And yeah, I started doing that, and I had that hobby for a couple of years. I actually went to some competitions, and I actually won some stuff. I never won standard leagues because my record would fluctuate between 20 to 22 out of 25, and it wasn't good enough to win anything. But in handicap league, where they place you, it's a different type of handicap league. They place you farther away from the box. So instead of 18 yards, I was shooting at like 20 yards, which as you go farther back, it becomes harder to fucking hit the things.
Well, yeah, it's a triangle, so the farther back you are.
Yeah. So, actually, my record for handicap leagues was better than standard. I won like a couple $100 at the state shoots because they would hold the state shoots in Elysburg near Knoebels. So, yeah, that was like my first and only competitive hobby, and I really enjoyed that. I didn't get way into it like some of these people who would spend like 20 grand on a shotgun.
Yeah, competition trap.
Competition shooting.
Expensive.
Competition shooting in general is just expensive.
3-gun matches don't have to be, you don't need, a stupid, hyper special gun to do competition shooting. A lot of people use standard ARs and stuff.
Yeah.
For, 2-gun matches and 3-gun matches.
I remember the one year I was at the state shoot and my gun malfunctioned on me and I couldn't get it fixed there. So, I had 20 minutes to either fix my gun, buy a new one, or forfeit. And Gary, not me, other Gary, Big Gary, he was like, well, how long's your gun? Here, just use this one. He had money, and he shot with money. He gave me a gun to use, and it was set up in such a way that it didn't have any kick at all for a shotgun. And that's weird, especially when you practice your entire time expecting kick, because they tell you not to flinch. But however hard you try not to flinch, when you're used to a gun kicking, sometimes you just, Well,
no. That's why you didn't make it to the highest league.
No, the reason I didn't make it to the highest league was because I couldn't keep my head down. So when you're shooting trap, when you hold your gun, you have to get your face as hard on the stock as you can to keep it down as low as you can so you can line the beads up as best you can. If you lift your head up to try and see the bird, those beads become unsynced, like unlined up, and so your aim is off. So what I would fall into the problem is I would say pull, and my head would go up. And then my head would go up, and I'd try to hit the bird, and I'd fucking miss. So my coach, great Australian man, can't remember his name, but he was wonderful. His favorite saying was, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie a fishing line to your ear with a hook attached to it. I'm going to put it in your balls. And every time you lift your head up, he's like, oh, and trust me, you will start keeping your head down. He never did it, but I did start keeping my head down after that. The other thing with the gun, too, was I had such good... It was so light. It just wasn't my gun. I was not used to it. I shot like shit that year. I hit 15 out of 25 when my record was normally 22s and 22s, 23s. I did hit 124 one year. That felt good. That felt really good. Never got a perfect. Always strive for the perfects. Never got it. But yeah, so that was super fun. I did enjoy that quite a bit. Okay, now it's your turn.
Well, you brought up some. I always like building stuff as a kid. I still do. I really want to make the ballista.
Exhibit A, the fence.
Yeah, like you're saying, the cannon.
Now, Aaron, you said you had no hobbies. You had to have had something like you. I know you read.
Yeah, reading was one of my hobbies. I guess it still is. I kind of stopped for like 10 years and then picked it back up because our high school library was just really shitty compared to our middle school library. So like they're just
really?
like the selection was just way worse because it was like 90% nonfiction stuff. Whereas like our middle school library was like, tons of fiction and stuff. Like
the middle school library was huge compared to the high school library.
Yeah, it was just a very good library. And then our high school one was awful. So there was never anything there I wanted to read. So I just stopped reading.
That's so weird. Like our middle school and elementary school libraries like kind of sucked like a lot. And our high school library was fucking awesome. Like it had all the books that like the library probably wasn't supposed to have. Like it had Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. It had One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It had
Do you think we live in some dystopian like mass censorship thing?
No, there are
a lot of those books. I don't know about the books you mentioned specifically, but there are a lot of banned books.
Brave New World has a lot of
I think Catcher in the Rye is now too.
Catcher in the Rye has been one of the banned books ever since my dad was in high school. We have that too. We had a lot of these like quote banned books, but they're only banned because of their sexual content. Not
necessarily.
I know Brave New World is. Fuck, what was the other one?
Some of them are for political reasons. Some are religious reasons. Like
yeah, fuck. It was Brave New World, and there was another one. Oh, fucking what was the name of it? A Clockwork Orange.
Checks out.
Yeah. So like we even had that too. And I actually kind of started like a banned book reading club in my homeroom because there were a lot of copies. There were a lot of copies of these books, and I basically said to a couple of my friends, like, "Hey, let's all check these out and let's read them, and we'll fucking talk about them in homeroom." And we did. And it was a lot of fun.
Nerd.
I know. I was the fucking president of the chess club. All right.
God, no wonder I didn't like you in high school.
You know what we did in chess club? Played Magic.
Yeah. But no, like in middle school, I would read like 12 books a month.
Really?
Like, that was like,
wow.
I would read like a book every 2 days. I mean, they're not gigantic books, obviously, but whatever, a couple hundred pages, 200 to 400 maybe. I don't know. And I pretty much only read fantasy. I did read some sci-fi stuff and stuff like that, but it's pretty much always just fantasy.
I'm going to out myself real hard here. I've never read the Lord of the Rings books.
I haven't either.
Okay, cool. I'm not alone. I know I should read them, but I have them on audiobook, so I'll probably listen to them instead.
Yeah, I don't know. They're different. They're obviously not like the movies. And they're good books. For a while, Lord of the Rings was my favorite set of books, but it's recently been beaten out by some more recent series.
Yeah,
but they're just like it ages pretty well. But it's definitely for an old-timey audience, and it's just modern books are very different, and so you kind of lose some of the appeal. Like, obviously it's held up very well. It was written, 80 years ago? No, probably not that long. 6. This is where I pull Gary and I just make stuff up.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, but the difference
I
is
think
you
it was
acknowledge
published- I
that
think
you
it was
might be wrong.
published in the 50s.
Fuck the both of you.
But either way, it's an enjoyable book. It's definitely like one of the progenitors for like your high fantasy kind of stuff and your like large like epic fantasy tales, in terms of like length and
You actually weren't
details.
completely off. Originally published in 1954.
Okay. Yeah.
So
He said 50s.
Yeah,
right,
then
but he said 80 years ago.
which was not right.
I mean, in
75, 70.
in 3 years, it'll be 70. Yeah.
It's just under. So that's
Yeah, so you were close. You were
65,
you were close enough. I'll give it to you.
You
But in any case,
were
like-
close enough on the generation.
Like I could
Yeah.
see that people like get really hyped, or like people hype the Lord of the Rings a lot, and then people like start reading it and they're just not into it at all. Like I could totally see that for a lot of people nowadays, just because it's so different because it's older and it's written with a different set of
A different
like,
prose, yeah.
everything, and it's just but they're good for sure.
I still think my favorite book series, like I will, these are the books I would keep in the fucking nuclear apocalypse bunker, would be the Dragonlance novels, because I can read those over and over and over again. Like as soon as I'm done with the series, I could pick the first book up and read it again.
Don't know how you do that.
I reread series all the time now too.
I could reread a book like once I've forgotten what happens.
Right, and that's basically what I do. Like I
Takes me
read them in
years.
well,
for
I
that to
read them in
happen.
high school, and I went and I reread them last summer.
Yeah, I read the Brothers' War section of the Magic books back in probably middle school at this point.
Mhm.
It's still too fresh in my mind
Really?
to read them again, yeah.
See, I read the Ravnicus series, and they were great books, but I'll be damned if I remember what the fuck happens in them. I could probably go back and reread those because I have no idea what happens.
I think finally, like, I read the Del Toro's Quest books in, like, elementary school. I think I've finally forgotten enough that I'm actually considering going back and rereading them. Even though they're, like, 80-page chapter books.
So, my whole thing is with rereading books is that the first time I read them, I am reading them for the story, obviously, because you're reading the book for the first time. But then the second time I go through and I read a book, I appreciate the subtle things, like how well it's worded and things like that, like the like artistic nitpicky like stuff. Like I appreciate that more reading it a second time. Like when like a section is particularly powerful, that I pick it up on the second read through more than just because I already know the story.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's my thing with rereading books.
Yeah, I often tend to read longer books and longer book series. So, like, once I'm through a series, like, there might be a lot of smaller things that I'm not perfectly remembering, or like,
Right.
like things you miss or don't pick up on like the importance of at the time. So, like, I like to go back and reread the stuff. And some series are just like powerful narratives, and they're just fun, and I get I like the emotional journey of characters and stuff, so I'll just reread them indefinitely. Like
I know where it's going. I can't.
The other thing about the Dragonlance novels is they're meant to be reread for a very specific reason in regards to Raistlin Majir, who is the mage of the group. He is a very powerful mage, and he does some very powerful things in the second trilogy of the Dragonlance novel, which, if you go back and you reread the first trilogy, the Dragon Wars trilogy, or the Chronicles trilogy, after reading the Brothers trilogy, you pick up on the things. I don't want to spoil it because I do want you to read it at some point.
I can almost guarantee that's not going to happen, but
I also don't want to spoil it for reader or for listeners.
that is fair. Yeah.
But like, Raistlin is awesome. He's the best character in the books. You can't fucking change my mind. I'll die on this hill.
Yeah, because like the current book series I'm reading now, I've come to find out that apparently the dude pretty much ripped it from the Wheel of Time series. So once I'm done with this series, I have apparently a whole nother series that's just like this one.
God, that's hilarious, actually. But no, for your thing about knowing what happens when you're rereading a book or something, or TV show, movies, whatever, like knowing what happens helps me like build this sense of like anticipation a second time through that obviously I don't have the first time because I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I don't know. It makes me enjoy certain parts of stories a lot more knowing what is going to happen.
I just lose any interest because I'm like, because when I
That's
read, I'm
understandable.
reading to find out what happens. So if I already know what happens, I'm like, oh, none of what's going on matters because I know how it gets resolved.
I guess part of it is the same reason I like history because obviously we know what happens in history. But it's like, it's still cool to have the story because like the people in the story don't know what's going to happen, obviously, and it gives them kind of like a doomed, thing that they it's just.
So you're the type of person that reads a choose your own adventure book page by page.
No, but every time I track my progress, and every time I get to the end, I go back to the most recent and just keep branching, and then go back to the next one, and then branch.
I ironically...
I read every single page.
I ironically did not like the Choose Your Own Adventure books. I really did not. Because I always chose the wrong path. I'm like, well, this is fucking stupid. I would, like, die on, like, the third choice. I'm like, this is fucked up.
I didn't really ever read them, but, like, by the time I really got into reading, I had, like, passed the level of most Choose Your Own Adventure books. Because I feel like a lot of the Choose Your Own Adventure books were, like, really simple, and I had never been exposed to them when I was at that reading level. Like, I didn't even know Goosebumps existed till I was almost in high school.
I knew Goosebumps existed, I just didn't like them. I tried a couple of them, and my favorite book series when I was, like, a little kid was the Indian in the Cupboard. I fucking love that series, dude.
I've literally never heard of it.
Mine was The Three Investigators.
You've never heard of Indian in the Cupboard?
No, I thought it was...
It's a movie, isn't it?
They made it into a movie. It was a book series first. It was a long book series.
I didn't know that.
It had like 5 books to it, which isn't that long, but for a kid, that's pretty long.
Yeah, I like The Three Investigators, which, come to think of it, it's like a TV show.
Makes sense.
Almost, because like everything is like, every book is compartmentalized, but they kind of have like an overarching thing. But like you could read any book in the series at any point.
That is why I liked the Magic Tree House.
Yeah, I was going to say, I vaguely remember.
I read all. I'm pretty sure I read all of those.
I did read a large portion of the Magic Tree House books. Those were really good. I really liked the African Safari one. I can't remember the name of it. And the one where they went to like Japan. Like, I remember it had ninjas.
I remember the cover of that one.
Yeah. But yeah, reading is cool. I liked reading. I'm trying to get my buddy Justin into reading for leisure. He has
competitive reading.
Well, I'm trying to get Justin into reading for leisure because like he's said I don't read, and it's kind of a shame. I would like to read more, and I'm like, so just pick up a book and fucking start. We even went to...
It's hard, though.
I know.
It's a lot, yeah, like...
Getting started on a new book is hard for me, but as soon as I do it, I'll literally read it for the next 8 hours.
And that's why I'm glad audiobooks are a thing now, because it's stopped me from taking the chance and buying a book, like, and then forcing myself to make the time and sit down and read it, because I can buy a book, download it, and I can listen to it at work.
I don't understand how you can do that.
What, listen to it at work?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm on a fucking lawnmower all day. No. I'm doing nothing but sitting.
But the problem is, like, anytime anything would pull my attention away, I would have to rewind. And it would, like, happen constantly.
Yeah, Audible has a button, or you just rewind the last 10, 15 seconds, or pause it.
But I don't have, like, the goldfish memory where if, like, Dad stops me for something, I forget what happened, like, 30 seconds ago.
Like, no, but during that, like, whatever's, like... So, like, if I have to, like, really focus on something, that's why I can't really even listen to podcasts at work, because, like, I can't focus on my work and focus on whatever they're saying.
I don't know. It's just... I actually prefer listening to, like, audiobooks and podcasts as opposed to music most days.
I'm really curious if you were to be, like, quizzed on retention, how much people actually retain of a story listening to it on an audiobook as opposed to physical reading. I'm actually really curious if there is, like, a noticeable difference.
I mean, you're right.
I would almost say there has to be.
If I'm multitasking, yeah, there's definitely a drop-off. But if that's the only thing I'm doing, no.
Well, yeah, then it's just reading.
Oh, you made it sound like it was, like, audiobook versus reading, and you're going to be like all over
No, like, because I feel like most people listen to audiobooks, like, while they're driving.
Oh, that's fine.
Like,
yeah.
I would argue you would probably lose retention for the same reason I think we talked about in the podcast before, but it's like, anytime something comes up when you're driving, you don't consciously realize it, but, like, you're filtering out everything else in your brain, and it's possible to miss those, like, 5 seconds.
You don't have, like, autopilot when you drive? Like, in your head?
No, because I'm a good driver. No, whenever you come to, like, a high-stress situation,
Oh yeah. Well, sometimes
Oh,
I'll turn
yeah,
the
no.
audiobook off,
Like if you're
yeah.
I do-
like if you're making a turn or you're stopping, like you're looking for traffic, like
Oh no,
you can't focus
I
on
do
both, so you're
agree.
missing that like 2 to 3 second window
Huh,
of the
curious.
book.
yeah, no, I do
To
agree
be
with
fair,
you.
I think you like people to talk faster, so you're missing more information every time. We're missing like half a word. You're missing like a full sentence.
I've never listened to an audiobook, so maybe they're not as fast paced as I thought.
You
but,
can
like,
I know Audible, you can run it at like what?
I know, and I
2
don't
times
know. I don't know
speed?
why people
Yeah.
do this.
like I could maybe see it while you're driving if like you're on like a highway trip and you're not having to really like hyper focus on anything very often. But like if I was just like driving, well, I live 2 minutes away from work, but like if I was farther from work and I like had to make like city driving or something, I wouldn't be able to listen to an audiobook because I would have too much focus on
No, that's
driving.
fair. And I do agree with you because driving home from New Jersey after my vacation, I got put in a situation where I was driving the Tundra and it's a big ass fucking truck and I was on a highway and there was a huge slowdown and like people were merging in stupid shitty ways and I was listening to my audiobook during that and I could tell you that during those shitty like making sure that I'm not going to crash into someone situations, I don't remember what was said in the book. Like, full
and
stop.
that would drive me
And,
nuts. That absolutely would drive me. And my problem too, like my brain likes to wander sometimes, and if I'm not physically looking at the words
book,
reading,
yeah.
it can just go.
That's fair.
Like, that happens to me when I'm listening to music sometimes. Like sometimes I'll realize my mind wander, I'll restart the song because I was like, wait a second, when did this song start playing? And I'll
Yeah.
actually restart the song. So I'm like, oh yeah.
It's just, I don't know, audiobooks have that flexibility where it's like, because the amount of times I can sit down and read a physical book are a lot fewer than if I can, anytime I could just turn on an
Right.
audiobook and enjoy it. Like,
It would just frustrate me, I think, is my
fair.
problem. Like, I wouldn't be able to just, I'd be like, God damn it, I fucking missed it. Rewind. Well, this
Yeah.
is too far back.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't hear this.
Yeah. Yeah. I've run into that situation when I started falling asleep to my audiobooks because I need sound when I sleep. Like I need ambient noise, which usually in the summertime comes in the form of the fucking air conditioner.
Why don't you just have a white noise generator?
Or I could listen to my audiobook. Because what I'll do is there's a sleep timer on Audible and it's great because I set it for like
oh wait, there is?
yes.
Oh.
Yes, there is. On the phone. I don't know if it's for desktop.
Yeah. A lot harder.
Dude, for some reason, Audible on the desktop has like half the features as Audible
because
on the phone. I don't get it.
I feel like that makes sense. They're focusing more on the mobile app because who the fuck's listening to an audiobook on a desktop?
Well, I'm on
Me!
my computer, and I'm doing things on my computer, and I also want to listen to an audiobook.
Just listen to it off your phone.
But I have the heads. But
I have a better headset
Why
for my
are you
computer.
listening to... Oh, okay, well,
Yeah.
that's part of it. Yeah, but, like, how do you listen? Like, why do you need your computer sound?
because I don't have headphones for my.
Again, I say I have better headset.
Oh, you
for
just
my...
don't have headphones for
I
your
have,
phone?
I have a shitty pair for work that I just leave there.
Oh,
And then
Yeah.
investment in a nice pair of headphones.
it also lets
Yeah.
me do other stuff while I'm listening to the audiobook. Like,
Yeah.
You can still do other stuff on your computer, but like that's just so weird. Like if you're listening to the audiobook, you're listening to the like I couldn't like do something else on my computer because I'd miss things in the book.
Yeah, I couldn't like play a video game and listen to an audiobook. But what I could do is like I could, if I was
I could
writing
probably play Stellaris.
Yeah, like that was one thing. If I was like writing something up, like if I was doing some writing or doing some researching for whatever, let's do audio.
How?
Oh yeah.
You have to actually read other things that are on the screen.
Yes,
How do you read and listen to an audiobook?
I don't know. I just do.
I physically can't do that. Like,
Now, if I get too into what I'm doing on the computer, I will turn the audiobook off because then I'm not paying attention.
Yeah.
That's fair. But if I'm just like if I'm looking up shit for BattleTech on the computer, I can have an audiobook running for that because I'm just looking at fucking mechs and
no,
shit.
I can't.
Yeah. So before
If
we
I start
leave
reading-
the topic of books and go to Gary's next mention of BattleTech,
Yeah.
I have to say for the record, my favorite book series that dethroned Lord of the Rings is The Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. Pick it up. It will give you a reason to live till he finishes the series.
Not sponsored. It sounded very sponsored, but
No, it's not sponsored.
Unless we don't. Wait a second. Are you getting paid for this?
Definitely my favorite book series of all time is Dragonlance, but of recent, King Killer Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss. If you're gonna pick that up, don't do it till book 3's out.
But you gave it to me to pick it up now.
Did you fucking start?
No.
All right, we're good. By the time you pick it up, maybe he'll finish book 3. We've been waiting for 12 years at this point. Some of us are starting to lose hope. All right?
Yeah, my favorite series is definitely The Sword of Truth by Terry Goodkind. Rip. He's dead now. But that's the series that apparently is a ripoff of the Wheel of Time.
No, I have
Is
to
that
read
the right-
both. That's interesting.
Have you read The Wheel of Time?
No, but
It's apparently like one of the
but
best fantasy.
Brandon
I've heard of it
Sanderson
before.
finished the Wheel of Time series because the original author died.
Oh. Yeah, apparently it's a
that's right.
ripoff. People are like, it's like the same book series.
Really? I'll
I
have to
don't
read
know.
both now.
For
Luckily,
anyone,
Terry Goodkind finished it before he died, pretty much.
for anyone
did?
who's
He was
not,
doing a bunch of supplemental stuff and like additional backstory for certain characters, but like the story, I'm pretty sure is done.
and for anyone who maybe fantasy's not your bag, because I'm assuming those two series are fantasies
Yes.
series.
So is Wheel of Time.
Yeah. So if fantasy's not your bag and you like, more non-fiction-y stuff that's still fiction-y, the Kenzie and Gennaro series by Dennis Lehane, same author who did Shutter Island.
I've come to think of it, I was like trying to think. I'm like, I've only ever read fantasy.
Yeah, I started branching out once I got Audible because again, it lowered my barrier to entry for a lot of books because I get an arbitrary amount of credits every year. So I'm just like, well, fuck it, I gotta spend them somehow. I use every
God,
single credit.
Subscription services are so weird. I didn't like.
encouraging reading. Ugh,
Dude,
whatever.
no,
I'm-
but like the thought where he's like, "Oh, I just get free books every year," but it's like you're paying for
No, no,
that.
no,
Like
no,
you're
I'm
paying
not
for
saying-
the books anyway.
He doesn't subscribe.
No,
you
I
don't
do.
I
I
thought you
do.
just buy a thing every year, like a package every year.
I have the.
Okay, it's the same
yeah,
thing though.
I have
It's-
the one time a year max.
Like, you're still paying for those.
No, I
Like, that's
am.
like
I know.
This is a weird disconnect. No, but I'm saying like what you're saying is like a thing with like subscription culture now. And,
No,
like,
it's not so much that. I'm not buying a book that's going to sit on my shelf, and when I get to it, I get to it. I have the credit. I can get into it right away. I don't have to put the time in to force myself to sit down and read it. So that's why I've ended up getting into a lot of different new series because I pick it up, I listen to it, it either hooks me right away, or I just don't listen to it.
okay, when you're reading a book, who's reading the book? Do you have like a narrator in your head reading the book, or do you just imagine like how do you read books?
So that has changed since I have Audible.
Okay, no, physical books. Audible doesn't count because obviously someone's
Right,
reading
right.
the book, so
So
it's completely different.
when I first started reading, yes, there was a like omniscient narrator.
So when you think, do you think in words?
What is that supposed to fucking mean?
So like, do you have like an internal dialogue?
Yes.
Okay, so is that the same voice that reads books to you?
No,
when you
the
read-
internal dialogue I have with myself over things, that's my voice. The narrator, different voice.
but it is a voice.
It is a voice. Yes.
Okay, what about you, Aaron? When you think, is there a voice in your head, or do you just like have abstract thought, or whatever is not the voice? I don't know.
No, I have a voice.
Okay, is it the same when you're like, do you read books with that voice, or do you just look at the words on the page?
You're asking us very
No,
existential
yeah,
places.
no, I read the words in my head,
Okay, we're all on the same
but I
page here
don't
then.
think they're the same voice. But it's been a
Well,
while.
whether or not they're the same voices, it doesn't matter. It's the fact that there is a voice, because apparently some people don't have that when they read.
They don't have like a voice.
No,
It's
they just
their
look
voice.
at the word. No, I don't have a different voice. They just look at the words on the page and comprehend them.
Yeah, no,
I just don't. I like
that I can't do.
because if your brain works like that, I could more easily see how you could listen to audiobooks and do other things better.
No. Now, I will say with Audible, the narrator's voice in my head for books I'm reading has gotten weirder.
Wait, so you still have that even when someone's reading it to you?
No. When someone's reading because the narrator obviously has the narrator's voice for whoever's narrating the book, which is why I still have not finished the third book in the Altered Carbon series, because every time I sit down and fucking read the book, it's that shitty narrator from book 3 from Audible. Oh,
Even when you're
Yes!
reading the physical book?
yes! Oh,
Holy
God.
shit.
It kills me,
Yeah,
dude.
no, it's always just my own voice. Well,
No,
not my own
dude.
voice, but
a
Nah.
voice you associate with yourself.
yeah,
It
the voice I associate
sucks.
with my thoughts.
It
The
sucks.
little man here.
A little monkey banging on the drums.
But the narrator for the Dennis Lehane books that I read, that guy's great because he had a
In
very
your head, or
no. Like I'm saying in the audio book, that guy was great because he was playing a detective in Boston, so he had a slight Boston accent up until the last book where he poured it on kind of thick, and people were a little upset with it. The last book kind of sucked. Not gonna lie. But it was meant to suck. It was supposed to suck. No, but anyway, yeah. The Kenzie and Gennaro books from Dennis Lehane, great. Little dated. Came out in the 90s and didn't really age the best. Don't read it if you are very sensitive to, I don't know, race wars.
Gary recommending racist books.
No, it's just there are points where the book is racist, but there's a reason for it. I'm not saying it's a good reason, but it's a reason. You can debate with yourself what you think about it. And the Altered Carbon series, also great. Pick them up. So, outside of books, me and Jonathan have also gotten into painting. Minis.
Like I said, I finally found a way to make that competitive.
How?
There's
the
competitions.
competition, yeah. I mean, that's fair. I paint the minis for the hobby I'm going to use the minis for, which is Battletech, which is a war game that we all kind of got into at my behest. Some of us more than others. I know, Jonathan, you're not the biggest fan of it. You'll play it with us, but begrudgingly.
That's an unfair characterization.
I don't know. I just feel like every time I'm like, hey, do we want to play Battletech? You're like, I guess.
Like, it's because we haven't done anything else since.
I know, but like, because my fear is I've wanted to get into this for so long.
You've latched on your fucking claws and you're not letting go.
Yes, because like I don't want to stop playing it. Is
Dropping
my thing.
tons of money on it, being like, we can't stop now, guys.
We can't stop now. We can't stop
Ironically,
now.
that's what we did with Arkham 2, also at his best. And I dropped money on that now.
Yes, that's okay. To be fair, didn't ask you to. You did it on your own. Just saying. With Battletech, I am the sole investor on this. And I have not and will not ask you guys to invest. If you do it, that's your own damn fault. Not mine. Now that that's out there, painting minis is really fun. I do like it.
Painting minis is great.
I just don't have the patience. Like, you are great at it because you have a large amount of patience. And, like, you're really good at it.
Well,
I
am not... I'm not that great, but...
For your entry position into it, you're pretty good. For me, I'm more just, fucking slap some paint on and throw it on the battlefield. Let's fucking go. That's how we end up with shit like Mud Mech and Barbie Mech. We'll have to get some pictures
side by side.
and then side by side those with the ones that you painted for me. Battletech war game, kind of similar to Warhammer 40k, but not as expensive. Still expensive, not as expensive.
Do you say that coming from a place of knowledge? Have you ever played Warhammer 40k?
Have you looked at the prices for the fucking minis?
Yeah, I've looked at the prices.
Yeah, okay, they're kind of fucking expensive.
That's what I'm saying, is you don't know... Is it actually similar to it? It doesn't seem like the combat system's like anywhere near the same.
I'm not saying it's similar... I'm not saying it's similar in mechanics, but a war game is a war game.
I guess.
Yeah. I mean, there are huge differences, which is why they're not just the same game.
In terms of a war game, though, Battletech's kind of weird because it focuses on a relatively small number of units compared to traditional war games.
You don't have to play it that way, though, either. There are combined arms, war game style. You can play it on a grander scale than we do, but it's just like, we don't like playing Battletech for like 8 hours. After 4 hours, I can feel us all kind of be like, okay, can this be over?
Multiple 2 to 3 hour sessions, if you had a room that you could just like leave this up. Obviously we don't.
Right. So. I don't know. Like, Warhammer looks fun, but from what Lou was telling us, it seems like rule soup. Like, worse than Battletech. Which I find hard to believe, because Battletech is rule soup too. But
I don't think so, actually. It's fairly...
How many times in a single game do we look up line of sight?
I think I've got it down now.
Do you?
Ironically, I'm the one who's really like locked on to figuring that out.
No, but like overall, it's just modifiers to a very simple core system.
Yeah,
it's a computer game before computer games are
right. That was the whole thing.
It's like it's a lot of complex rules that could be very easily simplified if you had some kind of algorithm,
and they do,
aka a computer game.
Yeah, and they do. I don't know. I definitely latch on harder to Battletech on the table because that is more fun for me than playing it on the computer.
It's more social.
And I like
social
being social. Yeah. So, meanwhile, Aaron likes HBS Battletech. He plays it on the computer.
I just play other games.
Yeah. The main reason we're not talking too in-depth about video games is because one, I think we did an episode on it, but two, I just want to do a normal episode on video games at a later date.
We did a normal episode of video games at an earlier date.
I want to do another episode.
I think it was with Lou, wasn't it?
I don't remember exactly. I'd have to go back and like listen to it and remember, because I don't remember what we talked about. I know we talked about like Darkest Dungeon and
Yeah, you guys were talking about
XCOM.
Yeah, that's how Aaron got into his newest addiction. Well, no, not really his newest anymore.
Yeah, because Battletech
That's old
took
hat
that.
now.
Yeah. Battletech took that position. Yes. But yeah.
Like a peddler.
Hey kids, you wanna? I mean, I've been trying to find an addiction for you, and I found it with painting. So that was good.
Yeah, that should have been like a no-brainer too. Like,
ironically enough, I thought Aaron was going to be way more into the painting, and he just shows like no interest in it, and that's what confused me. I was like, wow, because I really thought you were going to be like the.
You also thought he used to
meticulous-
whittle.
I'm not a very hands-on person.
But I thought the meticulous thing would have been like your like I know
Because he thinks he used to whittle.
Bro, I really did thought you used to whittle. That was very poor English. What the fuck was that?
I'm leaving it. Don't even try, because whatever you say is getting cut and said.
I really did think that you used to whittle. There we go. Much better. Holy shit. That was very redneck.
That was all for you.
I know it was for me, but fuck.
No, yeah, I got the stuff when I was a certain age. I don't even remember really. I was
We were in
gonna
Scouts at the
get into
time.
it as like a crafty kind of thing, and then I just never started.
Well-
I was like, I don't know. It's just
I think that's a good segue into talking about like some hobbies we'd like to get into.
Racing.
What kind?
Like performance car racing.
Oh, that would be neat.
that's a money sink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a huge. money sink.
That's one of those things that like I wish my parents would have gotten me into as a kid, because it's a lot easier to get into it as a kid because you can start building sponsors when it's cheaper. And then once you get your sponsors, you can
Invest that into
going into actual racing.
Yeah.
But that's like my biggest thing. Like if I had just an unlimited amount of money to drop, I would get a really fucking nice car and put like a bunch of performance mods and like actually do real racing.
Yeah, that would be neat. For hobbies for me, it's mostly like hobbies that I used to do that I want to get back into. Like I used to do a lot of creative writing. I just don't do that anymore. It's so hard.
It's D&D.
No, it's not the same. Like I used to write short stories. That was my thing. And I constantly had ideas from them, and I still do. But I have the ideas, and then I sit down to type them, and just nothing comes out. It's all up here, but I can't get it to come out of here. And that's the hardest thing.
Could you like talk about one?
Like what I've done?
No, could you like ramble? Like, could you like say it out loud?
On the spot? Probably not.
Not
but,
on the
like,
spot,
no,
but like
but, like-
while you're thinking of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You could try a transcription service then.
I had Dragon when it came out, and I thought that would be my saving grace. But I'm a very poor orator too. So like,
I don't know. Google's got a new service out. It's supposed to be pretty good.
well, I'd rather just type it out, go back.
But that's your
And-
problem. You obviously
Right.
can't type it out.
Well, and I don't know
But it might
where
be easier
I don't
for
know
you to-
where I went wrong with it either, because like I used to be able to just fucking bang that shit out and keep going, come back to it the next day, keep writing, leave it, come back, and just somewhere along the way, it became like nearly impossible for me to write. And I don't know why.
Sounds like you just need practice. Like it's like you know what you need to do, you just don't know how to make it actually happen physically. So like to me, that's just like you got to figure out like almost got to like practice and train like your body or.
If only you knew like an English major that could like help you proofread
Okay,
your
so
stuff.
here's
too.
the other thing though too. I'm so hypercritical of my own shit that I don't show it to anyone.
Well,
See, I'm so hypercritical of my own shit that I just don't make anything.
No, like, those paintings that I showed you last night, the ones I did, those paintings are like years old. I don't show, like, if I don't like a painting, I won't show anyone. And I'll just put it on my stack of paintings to be burned. There's an entire stack of them at home that just sits in my art studio. Like,
break into his house and start selling
Where
his
does he
paintings.
fit an art studio?
basement.
Oh.
I converted the bar room of my basement into my art studio.
You should go to like an art show where
No.
they do selling. I'll do it for you.
No, you will not.
Break into your house.
No,
steal
I
your
don't
paintings.
sell my
Give
paintings
him a
on
2%
principle.
commission. He'll fucking
Why? Because they're not good.
It does, but God, you're so frustrating.
No.
It doesn't matter what you think.
Yes, it does.
It matters what the people with the money
I paint for me. I paint for myself. That's who I paint for. I don't paint for anyone else.
It's such a waste
Except
to
Rebecca.
just burn them, though.
That's why I haven't done it yet.
Oh.
They just sit. They just sit.
Let people enjoy them.
No, because I don't enjoy them. No. If I paint it and I don't like it, no one else gets to like it. Isn't that the artist's
The worst
way?
part is I understand what you're saying, too.
Like, I have to really enjoy it. Like, and that's the other thing. The only person I paint for, other than myself, is Rebecca. Because she has, like, 4 of my paintings hanging up in her apartment. Because that's all she ever wants for her birthday, is a new painting. So I've gone through so many different painting ideas. The last thing I painted for Rebecca was Cthulhu's head. I painted Cthulhu above the sunken city of Relay. And I even went the extra mile. I went and I got lights. And I did acrylic and oil on canvas. So I did the background. I did Relay and everything. And the ocean in oil. And I left a spot for Cthulhu that I did in acrylic, which was new. I don't usually use acrylics. But the thing is, acrylics are way more transparent than oils are on canvas. So light goes through them. So what I did is I went and I got lights. And I glued them to the back. And there's a switch that at night you can turn the switch on and Cthulhu glows. I was very proud of it when I was done.
You need to give me Rebecca's number.
Why?
I think I could.
Why? It's not that good. I'll show you a picture.
Send it to me.
You're not selling my art.
No, but I could put it on the podcast.
All right. That's fine.
Especially that one, because that one sounds awesome.
Yeah, it turned out better than I expected. I did it in haste. I did it like a week before I actually went to see her for her birthday, so it was rushed because I'm a very bad procrastinator.
Aren't we all?
But it did turn out good. I did like
Can't
it.
procrastinate if you don't have plans.
It's also fair. But yeah, just getting into the hobbies I've kind of let fall by the wayside would be great. Like the painting and the writing and stuff.
Just fucking do it.
Yeah,
That's what I've learned. Is sometimes like you guys just like
It's time.
you can't.
It's
like,
all time.
But even if you've got like 15 minutes, just don't come over here one weekend and just like sit and paint.
I prefer the social interaction.
Or bring your stuff and you can paint.
You don't want me
he
no.
paints minis, you paint whatever.
No, you don't want dude.
Does it make a mess?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Do it outside.
I gotta see if Justin still has the mini fridge that we shared in college. The whole reason he didn't room with me our third year of college was because I fucked up our fucking room our sophomore year from painting. Like I had paint on the floor. I had paint on my fucking wardrobe. I got paint all over his fucking mini fridge, dude.
How?
You just let
Cleaning
it
the brushes.
What? On the furniture?
No. No. So I had
Got some extra paint I gotta get rid
I
of.
had a bucket and I had a rack and I would try my best to fucking clean it, but it just fucking flies everywhere. It's so hard. And I don't know how Bob Ross stayed so clean. Every time I fucking paint, I'd come up looking like I had a fucking fight with a twister board. Like, it's bad. Paint all over my face, all over my hands, all over my arms, every fucking time, dude. Every time.
Dude, you should stream your painting sessions.
I've been thinking.
Sounds like it,
I've been
yeah.
thinking about it, but no, because like I
Fucking
can't.
rave.
No, but I can't though because like I don't like what I paint. So yeah,
You can even stream the burning your pile of paintings whenever you
I've
get
learned
around
you
to it.
have to just disregard what you think because what you think is wrong. You're the biggest idiot you know. Not
Yeah.
you specifically.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. No, I understand what you mean. Like, and everyone tells me, dude, they're so good. No, they're not. Look at that. Look at that tree. That tree's fucked up. You may not know what's wrong with it, but I fucking know what's wrong with it.
I'm gonna put a shock collar on you and fucking Pavlov you into thinking better about yourself. Every time you say something bad, like shock.
And especially the
therapy
mountains.
we need.
And especially the mountains. Like the mountains, I never do right. I don't
Really? I think the
no.
mountains are what you do best.
Yeah, I was gonna say all the ones in the mountains were so
No, they're
good.
all wrong.
Where's the shock collar?
I used to be bad at clouds too till I got the right type of brush.
I need to buy one. I'm gonna buy one to fucking put on Gary. He's gonna be sleeping because he's a heavy enough sleeper. I could probably put it on him into sleep.
I'm not that heavy of a
Just
sleeper.
fucking padlock it on him.
You'd have to get me drunk first. Then I'm a heavy
You do that, you do that on
It's
your
easy
own.
to do that too.
Like, what did I say off air? Being an alcoholic, it's not buying more cheaper booze. It's drinking the same booze quickly. Any hobbies that you would like to get into, Aaron, if you had the time and money?
Honestly, nothing really comes to mind because it's not something I think about much.
You'd mentioned Warhammer at one point.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't played it yet, so I'm not sure.
You got it.
would be interesting at
Lou
all,
seems like he
but
has enough to play.
Lou has a bunch of
Totally.
different games too. Like I don't know, there's some neat stuff, but
Lou's the cool friend.
yeah.
Lou is the cool friend. Lou's the eccentric friend.
No, you're the eccentric. Eccentric.
Am I
I can't
though?
even fucking say the word now.
Eccentric?
Yeah.
Wow, Gary can say something you
Concentric.
can't.
Wow.
I normally don't have a problem with it.
You're being facetious.
I don't know. I'd probably find something hands-on to do if, like, we live forever and I could, in hundreds of years, I could do something. But nah, I don't know.
Boxing. That was the
No.
other one I was trying to think of.
Mm.
I want. I'm probably going to get into that in the wintertime.
Oh, also, if I could get my explosives production license, I would like to make fireworks.
Oh, okay. It's not where I thought that was going.
Yeah.
I was
I-
like,
like the
bro,
whole-
are you about to say something we're allowed to air?
The whole process of making fireworks just seems really cool to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is
Like,
neat.
The product is cool. Everybody likes fireworks. Like,
Increasingly, though, I see people less liking fireworks.
yeah, I mean they're problematic, but people with PTSD,
Fireworks
and,
fatigue.
animals and stuff. It's like,
Anxiety.
yeah, it's kind of fucked up. But I don't know. Make them go boom.
All right, gentlemen. Anything else to say?
Gotta drag this out 10 more seconds.
10 more seconds. How many was that?
2.
Fuck.
It's gotta be a usable 10 seconds.
But there's no place around here we'd have to
I'm
go
really
find.
hesitant to.
Oh, you know what we
fill that
forgot to
again.
turn off? Hold.
Intermission.
Do 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 do.
Just play something from Gary's playlist. That's elevator music.
Sorry. I don't know if that was my responsibility
Did you
or not.
actually do something?
I
Yeah, I
thought
turned it
about
off.
it, and I'm like,
What are the chances it goes off in recording? So anyway,
hold
what
on,
was-
hold on. We gotta let that run out.
3 minutes in.
I want you to put all this at the end
Why?
because this is funny.